All right, so I'm gonna add in Wade Koniakowsky. Am I getting it right, Wade?
Yes, that's perfect.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Again, that's my
Right.
South Bend, Indiana upbringing. That
My Hawaiian name.
I lived with Wesolowski's, Mishevitz, all kinds of skis and itzes. So yeah, I learned how to pronounce that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And wow, talk about fantastic artists. You have some amazing art, and I'm hoping you have some examples that you can show us this evening.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, thank you for participating.
I do. Okay, so let's see. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me. And I want to say how stoked I am to, be a part of this mix, because everything has been, I didn't know what to expect. And everything has been super inspiring, from the cocktail to Janine, and then okay, what's his name? I'm following him on Instagram now. It's unreal, the ceramicist
Mitchell, yeah, Mitchell, yeah, some amazing
Mitchell.
stuff.
Okay, incredible. Oh my gosh, I should not even. I can't compete with that. But like, I do 2D art, and every time I see 3D, I go, oh my gosh, I'm not worthy, because it's much easier to do 3D, or to do 2D rather.
Well, that always amazes me when somebody is in one, but their brain will actually work in the other. Because to me, I can't even begin to fathom 3D. I'm 2D, I'm 1D, I swear. But, seeing somebody who can do 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional, and then go and put together a book, that's just unfair. The dude's going to win an EGOT, one of those, the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. Yeah, there we go.
Well, he does
it all.
He has something really unique. But anyway, so I'm going to try to sort of tailor this toward your audience, hopefully. And what I was going to kind of lead with is that, I do a lot of things that the kind of common denominator in everything that I do with my art is the ocean. But where this connects with the Tiki culture, is I got really fascinated with Polynesian culture, and that really inspired a lot of my work. So that's kind of what I'm gonna stick with tonight. Even though I do a lot of oceanscapes like that.
Yeah.
Walking down the beach, and somewhere Southern California or whatever. But I've spent a lot of time in Hawaii, and some other islands, and so that's really, that culture, I know that connects with the Tiki world. So it's that just like inspired me really, really deeply over the years. So anyway, but I thought I'd show this. I don't know if you can see this. I do some mugs. This is
Nice.
a Mai Tai glass I did recently. Do you guys know this guy named Gene McDonald that has South Pacific?
Oh, everybody who's ordered glasses knows Gene. Yes,
Okay,
he's a great guy. Yeah. He feeds the world on those glasses.
He does all my merch, and he's awesome. And I, we don't do tons of merch. We sell, my wife and I have, run this business, and my daughter, and we're mostly selling paintings and large prints or whatever for people's homes. But we got into merch. Gene pushed me into it. He was like, "Oh man, you could be like Shag," and I'm like, "No, I can't be like." But in all these, he's real involved in Tiki Oasis in San Diego, and other Tiki, festivals. And my friend Norm, I was talking to Norm Daniels today, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I've been on that podcast.
Yeah, he's been
And I'm
on
like,
here.
really? Okay. So anyway, a shout out to Norm.
And you still came on, even though he's like, no, run,
Oh
go,
yeah.
don't go on that show. They're
Okay.
idiots.
Shout out to Norm. I went to, there's what is the name of that tiki bar?
Valley
In San
High.
Diego. Yeah, Bali High. And so I went the night that they released this old tiki mug that Norm painted. And then this band called Creep Zotica, you're probably familiar with those guys.
Yep.
They played that night. It was really fun. Anyway, so yeah, I like the tiki world. But I'm going to switch to, I'm going to see if I can do this. I'm not that great with technology, but okay, we're going to run through some Polynesian inspired stuff. Okay. Okay, so
there we go.
So this kind of stuff is,
wow, well worth the wait.
Sorry about that.
No, well worth the wait. That's
so
beautiful.
this is a handmade frame and with a print of a painting and some maybe block prints and stuff like that. And same thing here with the handmade frame and more of a scenic. Surfing, I'm really into surfing, and that's a big part of my inspiration. These frames, hand carve a little bit of it, like you can see adding some shells and things like that. Tahiti and all the Polynesian islands are super inspiring to me. So there we have a little bit of that. I do this series about places I'd like to live. And I have friends in Hawaii that send me pictures of the old houses that are kind of just beat up and near the beach. They're way too close to the beach. They get washed away in the first tsunami or whatever, but I still love the dream of living there and having a house right there.
Yeah.
And surfing perfect waves. I did a series on years ago called Aloha Friday and did a lot of, so I paint wahinis. I love to paint the whole hula dancers, all that kind of stuff. You know, just flora and fauna that you'd find in tropical islands. The people of Polynesia are just fascinating to me. I have a lot of friends. I just love that, the culture, the history, the, you know, everything about them is just very inspiring, and just, I just love it. I wish I was Wade Kahanamoku instead of Wade Koniakowsky. Anyway, and just the little places you might live like this are very compelling.
Do you do any tweaks on any of that stuff for like Pan American Airlines or something like that, where it's more you know, because I see some of that. I'm thinking like, because I always wanted stuff like that old.
I love to do vintage. You know, the thing that intrigues me, and thank you for that question, is that in the 30s and 40s, all these illustrators got you know, were set to work to sell Hawaii, and on the Matson cruise lines and all that stuff. And it's just beautiful art. I mean, you know, it was kind of like setting up Hawaii to be overdeveloped, unfortunately, but it was a golden era. And there's just tons of great art. I love that. And
the advertisement type stuff. and that's what that reminds me of. It just reminds me of that, but it doesn't have a playing in the background with some cool advertisement on it.
Yeah, I was in advertising for a long time, not as an illustrator, art director and creative director. And so I'm real familiar with that. But yeah, I love I love to do vintage poster design. I probably, hopefully I stuck some of that in there. This might be a little bit like, I don't know, this is kind of a modernized thing, but just, you know, liking this girl, this wahine, and mixing in some flora and fauna. And then scenes like this, that's Tahiti. And
Chef, that's what you need. He needs to do the wall on one of your bars, clean
Yeah.
all that up and put that on one of your end of your wall. That would
Oh
be-
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I've done lots of posters for surf contests
Yeah.
and big surf events in Hawaii and stuff. And that's where you get to you know, really draw from some of that older stuff, and lots of publishers that do this kind of things. I do a lot of surfboards, and these surfboards are these little wooden boards that the Hawaiians, well, okay, the elite, the chiefs in Hawaii that were surfing in like what they call pre-revival, which means the revival of surfing came with in the 20s with and Koniakowsky and some of those guys. But you know, if you went back to the before the missionaries, you'd find the rank and file riding the short flat boards, and then the chiefs would ride these huge, like 12-foot boards. But I love taking those boards, and you can do some cool things like this. This one on the left has koa rails and you know, mixing in some interesting things with the wood, and then I've done just dozens and dozens of these
That's
surfboard
amazing. That's
sort
incredible.
of yeah, they kind of like, it's the whole feeling of Polynesia, and it includes graphics. I do block prints, hand carved block prints mixed in with painting. And that's after the board's been shaped, and so it's collaboration with a surfboard shaper, and those have been super fun. And I still do a few. I did tons of them for years. Sold them in Hawaii. I'm not as it's now Hawaii's a little bit, you know, it's really locked down, and it's expensive to ship stuff, but I still do some stuff. But at one time I was in galleries all over Hawaii and on all 4 islands. And this kind of mood is like about sort of traveling to surf, and the adventure of that, and connecting with, you know, cultures and places where you'd find waves. That's a little low res, but anyway, love to do. I was taught by this guy named Michael Cassidy that's done, he just really, he's moved into kind of American Indian motif, but he really got me excited about painting Polynesians. And so, you know, they have great features and just beautiful women and interesting people that one you've seen. This is this kind of a scene of Tahiti, just a little jaunt out on your outrigger. That kind of stuff really gets me excited. So what else do we got? And then just scenes like this, some surfers finding some great waves somewhere in the South Pacific Islands.
So now when you're looking to create a painting, do you have a vision in your head? Do you see these in real life and capture a photograph? Where does this come from for you?
Well, all of the above, really. You know, traveling, and I always carry paint with me, and so that I can capture things on location. I do a lot of on location painting when I travel, and yeah, and it's just super fun. I do the last few years I've done a painting retreat in Mexico, in the tropics on the west coast of Mexico, near Puerto Vallarta. And so I'm getting ready to go down there in a month and do a few weeks of you know, people coming down and painting. And even though it's Mexico, it's not Polynesia, but it's still the tropics, and you go down there and you kind of go native, you know, you kind of like it. It's just super fun to be in warm warm weather, warm water. We surf in the morning and we paint all afternoon, and then, you know, go out and have some fun in the evening. And so, yeah, I paint when I travel. I also just collect, you know, I just have mountains and mountains of reference on my computer. And yeah, I collect it. I've gone to, I collect reference and inspiration all over the place. Yeah, I mean, you know, I've got stacks of old National Geographics and tons of books on Polynesian culture and Tahiti and Hawaii. And, you know, like not too long ago, I saw a documentary on Gauguin in Tahiti, and just like stuff like that just really gets me excited, and inspires this kind of work.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's there's a lot more on my website. Again, I get like, I would say I started, I worked in advertising for years, and then I started in 2004 with the fine art business. And for many years, all I did was this kind of Polynesian, South Pacific kind of stuff. And then I got more into doing kind of California wavescapes. And so I'm doing a lot of those now. If you go to my website, or if you go to my Instagram, but I started another Instagram called Koniakowsky Tropical, so that I could have just nothing but the tropical on that. So there you have it.
Did you ever do anything with tikis on them, or just the carved, like the, you know, Hawaiian types?
Yeah, there's tikis. Tikis kind of come, you know, in and out. But you know, like Gene McDonald would take my art to Tiki Oasis, and it wasn't quite, you know, some of the guys, like I'm friends with Big Toe and Norm and some of the other Tiki artists that are more popular, and they go all in, and their stuff becomes a little more focused in that way. I'll just sort of have suggestions of that. Like I did a series, and I meant to put some of these on there of just like vintage, you know, I did a whole series on making up bars and restaurants in Hawaii, that I would just make up a name, and, you know, like what you'd see them on matchbook covers and stuff like that.
Yeah, can we buy prints of that stuff? I'm old, but I didn't get any of that. Any of that stuff's cool. If you can do prints on things like that.
Yeah,
You know,
well, just email me, and what I'll do is I'll just throw a little PDF together, and if you want anything, you can order it, because I do. I love vintage poster design, so that I do have that. It's just, you know, when you do, I don't know, I'm kind of prolific, so my website only shows like about 1/10 of the stuff I've done. If people get a hold of me and they're interested in a certain thing, and they say, "Hey, I saw this thing that you did a while back," I'll find it and, you know, print it, whatever, because I'm appreciative of people, you know, being interested in it. So,
Well, and to Carbon's point earlier, when you said about the wall, let me ask, what's the biggest painting that you've ever done for one of yours?
you know, I don't paint walls like a lot of. I'm a little older, and young people really like to paint murals all over town and stuff, and it's really cool. I love it. But I had sold a bunch of art to a guy that bought a house in Costa Rica a few years ago, and then he said, "Hey, why don't you come down and paint?" And I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, "You mean like just come down and hang out with you guys and paint?" And he goes, "No, I got an idea." So he wanted me to paint this whole stairwell going from the first to second floor. And I said, "I don't know if I can paint the whole thing, but I can come up with an idea." And he said, "Yeah, come on down. We'll paint, and we'll serve every day, and paint. You can paint in the afternoon." And so I painted the whole stairwell. It had like an initial scene of Costa Rica, and then it had whales and dolphins, sea life, leading upstairs to this wall that when you got to the top of the stairs, the second floor, that was like a 9 by 9 foot wall, and that had a huge wave on it. And that's some of the bigger scale stuff. I'm honestly kind of I choke a little bit when it comes to really big stuff, because you got to think, it changes the whole ergonomics of painting. You gotta, if you're painting like even a 24 by 36 inch painting, you can paint it all pretty close to the painting. But if it gets really big, you got to start stepping way back and, do this thing in the corner and do this. So, but yeah, that's probably the biggest.
Yeah, because I mean, your art, I mean, to me, because I saw mostly the seascapes, and to me, those are beautiful, and I would love to have those as in my bar as something that looks like a window out into the world. So there's no windows in my bar, obviously, but having that painting, it's like you're looking out and you can see out this beautiful tropical beach or bay that you painted. They're beautiful. So amazing.
Thanks again for having a look.
Absolutely. And I did find the merchandise on your site. I was just an idiot and didn't really look very well because I missed a drop down menu. I was too busy looking at the art you were creating that was on the page. I didn't even think to look at the drop down menus. So yeah, you've got some really great merchandise out there. Those glasses look good. Hopefully you have more than 2. So when people come on and buy, they're not going to take the 2 that I want.
We have 4. Well, no, wait, we sold out the first 2. And then I did these ones with like block prints. We sold out all of those. I think we just have the latest one, which is a new process that you can do 4-color art. So, but we'll do more. We like it. It's not the main thing, but we like having it,
Well, it makes the art more consumable, more accessible. So and it shows off your stuff in more places. Like I said, that glassware is beautiful. I'm going to go through here and look at some of the art that you've got out because I do have a tiki bar I need to fill with stuff. I think I still have room in it. I don't know. I bought a lot of stuff for it. So thanks for coming on, Wade. Definitely appreciate it. We've got your info in the chat. All of your information there to go out to the website, go to the store, buy his stuff. Yeah, good quality stuff because the painting's amazing, but the merchandise, if Gene made it, it's going to be good. He does every tiki bar in the country. If you have a Mai Tai glass from any tiki bar, I would bet you $100 that's going to be Gene who made that glass.
He's an old surf buddy of mine, so.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy, high energy. I run into him every year at Tiki Oasis. He's a good guy. As are you. So thank you for joining. Definitely appreciate it.
Thanks again.